Hello and welcome to Between Two Antlers, the show where teacher-student relationships become bitter and where students betray one another. And speaking of traitors, that brings in our first guest, Mr. J.J. Zumbrennen. Mr. Z, welcome back to Elkhorn High School.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here, even though I've heard some shade's going to be thrown at me. We're gonna answer questions with smiles and handshakes at the end of this thing.
All right. Okay, Mr. Z. You were the near perfect teacher, but there was one thing keeping you down. You told us a story where you made breakfast burritos. You remember that story, right?
I do.
But I also heard from Fikert students that he told them the same thing. Would you elaborate?
I will elaborate, and I'll ask a very simple question to you, Mr. Rue. Do you eat breakfast burritos?
No.
Have you ever eaten a breakfast burrito before?
No.
Never once in your life have you eaten a breakfast burrito.
No.
Well, I think that breakfast burritos are a very common meal for a lot of Americans, and so I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that both Mr. Fikert and myself could enjoy breakfast burritos and have similar conversations with our spouses. We are very similar, Mr. Fikert and I. We both coach. We both teach A-Push. And so why is it so out of the realm of possibilities that we would both enjoy a breakfast burrito?
It's just that the two stories are extremely similar.
It must just be coincidence.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. All right. So you and I have talked about shows that we've watched throughout my junior year. What was your favorite out of the shows that you've watched?
That's a really good question. And to answer maybe another question that's coming, I still have not watched Attack on Titan, so don't ask me about that.
I know that.
I would have to say, you had seen Breaking Bad, right? We talked about Breaking Bad.
I've seen a chunk of it.
Okay, so I would say that's probably the one that's up towards the top of the list for sure. And I know that you were a big Game of Thrones fan. I would say Game of Thrones is in there as well. But if we could take out the last season, maybe last 4 or 5 episodes, then that would be probably bumped up there.
Okay, my favorite show out of all shows, all time, is probably Cleopatra. The absolute perfect show. You should totally watch it. But from time to time, if I want to get a little crazy, I will watch Game of Thrones Season 8.
Season 8.
And I will enjoy it.
Interesting. Just Season 8?
Yeah. It's the perfect season.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right. I am going to show you a video and explain how this video briefly describes one perspective on the importance of the military-industrial complex. Here is the video.
I would lick the bathroom floor. I would lick a toilet. I would do really a lot of stuff.
I'm pretty sure that video has been doctored.
Really?
Yeah, that didn't look. I don't know who that person was. I think context is important in all situations as well, right? The breakfast burrito story leads itself into context, and so I think that is some fake news. I think that was taken out of context, and you're trying to smear me, and I don't appreciate that.
But how does it briefly describe one perspective on the military-industrial complex?
Well, obviously, this AI image that you have created would be opposed to the military-industrial complex, as we talk about in A-Push, especially with Dwight Eisenhower. He would be opposed to any sort of changing or falsifying video if it had been widely available, and so I think that we have to be as well.
That video was not fake, by the way.
It looks pretty fake.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So I mentioned it earlier, but I'm just wondering, why did you go to the South? Do you just hate our guts or something?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Punch to the gut. I see. Okay, and now a word from our sponsor.
My fellow Antlers, the school is a mess, okay? It's as messy as it gets. These A-Push teachers are out of hand. They're rigging our elections. They're taking bribes from the college board. Okay, we need to make A-Push great again.
Anyways, Mr. Z, why did you become a teacher in the first place?
That's a great question. I've had two really influential people in my life. One of them was a high school history teacher and my basketball coach, and just really started to appreciate the idea of relationships. And then the other one is my mom. She's also a high school or a middle school social studies teacher. Yeah, I can see that is obviously super important, and I'm glad that you asked that question.
Yeah.
Playing a little clash.
Jeez. My bad. I got a little bored. Okay. Okay. Now, Mr. Okay, Zumblebee, how does it feel knowing that the presidential debate trophy only remained in your classroom for 2 weeks, then just went back to Fikerd's?
Yeah, it was in its rightful place for 2 weeks. If everybody would like to recall and remember back to Zumbrennen's class winning the presidential election, and sometimes when you know what's best, not just for yourself, but for a school, for a community, but also for other people. And I know that sometimes Mr. Fikert, he's a very sensitive person. And so I wanted to make sure that we left on a positive note. And he really, for some reason, cared so much about that trophy. And so I just felt that it was best to stay here so that we could remain cordial in our business relationships.
I see. What made you want to become involved in the coaching staff for Elkhorn South basketball?
It's a good question. It's first of all, it's where I went to high school, and so I had some connections with members that were already on staff there, and it worked out where when I started student teaching, there was a position open for the reserve coach, and I spoke with the head coach at the time, and he offered me the spot. And I would have loved to have done some stuff at Elkhorn High School, but there just wasn't any paid positions open at the time, and so that's kind of where it started. And then did some freshman stuff, did JV, and then was fortunate enough to obtain the head job.
All right. I bet I'm a better basketball coach than you.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you list some experiences that you have, or maybe a resume?
Well, I have watched every home game for Elkhorn High School basketball for the past 2 years, maybe 3 years, starting this year. And I have come up with the best strategy there is known to man.
Please explain.
I call it the artillery. So basically, it's a 1-2-2 formation, except everyone is outside the arc, as you can clearly see, like this. So basically, you want to score the most points possible. That's how you win a basketball game. And so, to score the most points, you remain outside the three-point line. And then, so basically pass around the ball through like in a U shape every time. And if you want to get crazy, just throw it across. Then, when you get an open chance, just shoot the ball and you make it. And if you get fouled, you've got potential for 4 points, or 3 if you get fouled.
The way that you describe that may be revolutionary in the game of basketball. I don't know that there have been many coaches that have simply taught their players to shoot the ball and make it every single time.
Oh, but it gets better.
Yeah.
On defense, if we lose the ball on a drive, I would just tell my players, go slide tackle that guy. Just slide tackle that.
Not worried about any flagrant fouls in that situation?
Nope. If they get ejected, oh well, I just put the JV in to start. Like, that's my strategy. Start the
So
JV.
you're just trying to hurt the other team?
Yeah.
To each their own.
It could work.
It could work.
It would work.
It might fail miserably.
It will not fail miserably. Anyways, folks, this is what I call artillery. It is genius, in my opinion. Okay. Anyways, so I want you to describe this image I am about to show you. Okay, can you describe this image?
This image appears to be an Instagram page. I believe it would be my Instagram page that has been deactivated or logged out of the account, and that's about it. That's about it. You can see I have more followers than people that I was following, which is usually a very positive thing. Very funny quote in the tagline there, because I am a very funny person. And the account is obviously, of course, private because I don't want people like you to be able to see things in my own personal life.
Why haven't you accepted it?
You have I do not have Instagram. I'm not on Instagram anymore.
Why not?
And even if I was, I would have absolutely denied that request. So,
Wow. I am very disappointed that I cannot follow the legend himself.
no one can.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, J.J. Abrams, last question. Why didn't Chester A. Arthur win the last year's debate?
There have been talks, there have been discussions about sabotage, rumors of sabotage. And I can assure all of the lovely listeners at home that no sabotage had taken place. I know this was a contentious issue in last year's debate, but I can say with all of my heart that there was no funny business.
Really?
Really,
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. Look, I'm just a messenger, but watch out.
Watch out.
Just watch out.
I'll watch my back. I'll watch my back.
You dug your hands into something you shouldn't have dug into.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's not really a threat, but I'm just saying.
It sounds like a threat.
It's not really a threat.
It
Just
sounds
saying.
like a threat.
Just get it.
And I believe those are
get out.
illegal, especially in the school.
It might
Yeah.
might be. It probably is. But we'll cut this out. I'm just a messenger, so
Duly noted.
yeah, right. Okay, folks, that is JJ Zumbrennen for you. I'm Kellen Rue, your host. And Mr. Z, it was an honor to have you here.
A pleasure to be here. It was a complete waste of my time, but thank you so much anyway.
All right, that was Between Two Antlers. See you next time.